According to the United Nations, a refugee is someone who has fled war, violence, conflict, or persecution and has crossed an international border to find safety in another country. As of June 2020, there were nearly 26 million refugees worldwide. This is Hassan. He is a refugee, and this is his story. Hassan was born in Sudan and fled to Chad as a child to escape war and genocide. In 2016, he fled to Libya. Libya was unsafe.
Then the guy I was working with him, he told me that Libya isn't safe for me. So I told him the situation where I come from. And he told me the only place I should go and save myself is somewhere in Europe.
The guy knew smugglers, and after paying 1,000 Libyan dinars, Hassan headed to sea at 4 a.m. and found an inflatable boat waiting for him.
When we got on the boat, it was really scary because when we get there, I almost changed my mind, but they said there is no way going back. So they said you have two choices. Either we'll get in sea or you will die. The guns is all behind me and you can't turn back. So the only way I have to get in the sea. So I went in the boat. Our boat was supposed to be like 30 people maximum, but we got on there 130. That was really high capacity. It wasn't even safe.
After 4 hours at sea, he was rescued and taken to Italy, where he was left at a restaurant in Rome by the authorities. He asked for help at the restaurant.
The guy said, "Oh, it happened before. So they drop people here and then they make their own ways." So we said, okay, we want to claim the asylum. And then they said, okay, the only place we can go and claim asylum is like Ventimiglia. There is a lot of refugees.
After travelling over 400 miles to Ventimiglia, Hassan realised there was no help and decided to cross the border into France. He ended up in Calais and asked to claim asylum. One late and rainy evening, Hassan got lost and took shelter in a lorry.
We always like getting our food from lorries, some vans, everything. We got used to it, so we don't mind getting on a lorry, so hiding there until the rains go off.
The lorry was heading to England. Upon arrival, Hassan was transferred to Birmingham and then Nottingham to start the process of claiming asylum. Within a year, the number of refugees granted leave to remain in the UK increased by nearly 20% in 2020. Solicitors like Deirdre help refugees put together successful applications.
The asylum process in the UK is quite a rigorous one, and it's not easy to be granted asylum here. During the interview, the Home Office will go through everything from your health, your education, where exactly you come from, nationality questions. They'll want to know everything that's happened to you in the past and who it is you fear upon return. I think it's important to understand that in an asylum claim, the burden is on the applicant to prove that they would face a reasonable likelihood of being harmed in their country. So they have to show that they would face severe ill treatment or persecution. So if the application is granted, the person gets the right to remain in the UK for an initial period of 5 years. And it's only at the end of that they could ask to stay in the UK permanently.
After refugees are granted leave to remain, they are evicted from their temporary housing. With only 30 days to find new accommodation, charities like Refugees at Home are there to help during this period.
I got friends also in Liverpool, and I asked him, I said, look, I got visa. And now they told me to leave the accommodation, but I haven't got nowhere to go. So he said he been in the same situation, and he got like refugees at home. So he told me to go and refugees at home online and then fill the form. I went same process. And next day, I found the muddy.
Oh gosh! Oh, he was just a lovely boy, wasn't he?
Yes,
smiley, interested, enthusiastic, polite. Just grateful for somebody that wanted to offer him somewhere to live as well. Not that we wanted gratitude, but he just seemed to be a lovely young man. So
he'd like to spend time with us in the evenings as well. watching various TV programmes and things.
I think he's a very sociable and very resilient young man, and we don't know half of what he's been through. We only know little bits, and even those little bits would make most people just, crumple. He shared a love of running with us, and that's always a bonus in this house because we do so much.
I used to train with them a lot until they inspired me to be an athlete. So now I'm an athlete. I made a lot of friends there. Used to have that's not near to Mansfield. So I made a lot of friends here. It was really great. Yeah.
We message probably a couple of times a week, chat about TV programmes, how the children are, how his job is, what exercise he's doing. Is he doing any sport? Is he running? Because he can't go to the gym. And we kind of feel that he's a bit like a son to us, but I have no idea how he regards us at all. And I wouldn't ask him. I just hope he knows that we're here if ever he really got stuck for something. That's what we'd like to think.
My relationship with them is like really, really close. So now they are my family. I can contact them anytime. I can visit them anytime. Until COVID came up, but still I will visit them when it's over. Yeah.
Nottinghamshire has dozens of support groups and organisations for refugees. Charities like the Nottingham Refugee Forum provide support for when refugees arrive in the city and to set them up for their future.
We have tried to do our best to be a welcoming place for refugees and asylum seekers here in Nottingham. Primarily, we provide advice and support, just making sure that asylum seekers and refugees here in Nottingham have somewhere where they know they can get good advice, where they will be listened to, and where they will feel safe.
Refugee Roots also provide a welcoming space for refugees in Nottingham.
Refugee Roots welcomes all, helping those in need to find a friendship and a place to belong, a place to call home. And we do that through a range of befriending and empowerment initiatives.
Some of Nottingham's support organisations say the city has a relatively low rate of harassment towards refugees. The Nottinghamshire community have welcomed refugees and helped to make the city feel like home for them.
A lot of our service users have told us they feel safe and they feel like home here in Nottingham. I know of individuals who have lived in other cities and have actually come to live to Nottingham because they felt this environment was better or safer for them. They can find, people from the same background, from the same religion, from speaking the same language. And that way, it's much easier for them to also kind of feel a part of the broader Nottingham community.
In Nottingham, it's mixed. There are people who have very positive attitudes towards asylum seekers, refugees, and migrants in general. But there are also those negative attitudes too. There's racism and there's issues of hate. But we also have such wonderful expressions of community, of welcome, where we've had people just display their acceptance and their invitation to the people that we're working with and supporting.
During the coronavirus pandemic, refugees have had to wait longer to be granted leave to remain, and it has also limited the amount of accommodation available to them. Yet, even before the pandemic, there were criticisms about the system.
What the UK government calls its hostile environment, that's a word they use rather than my own words. I also feel that the hostile environment is very difficult for asylum seekers. So when a person is going through the asylum process, they don't have a right to work. They don't have a right to open a current account. They don't have a right to rent. They don't have a right to a driving licence. The accommodation tends to be hard to let accommodation, and the amount of money that an asylum seeker gets per week is only £37.75.
This makes it easier for refugees to get their visa. It's really kind of stressful. If you don't get your visa, and just like still asylum seeker. Some people they've been waiting here for years, and it's really difficult for them. Yeah, absolutely difficult for them. Yeah, I feel them. Yeah.
Since arriving in Nottingham, Hassan has built a new life for himself. He now lives independently and is proud of his job and his flat in the city.
It just makes you proud being over here, where you made it and where you came through and where you are. Just like feel like really make you feel positive and strong. Well, from inside, I'm still a refugee, but now I'm outside. Yeah, now I'm outside. Yeah.
A refugee's journey is long, tiring and daunting, but their destination can also have just as many challenges. Having the right support available is crucial to settle in, especially when the system can be confusing.
And if you want to actually go past all the different narratives that you might have been fed by the media, by your racist uncles, by whoever, come and see it for yourself. So I'm an advocate for that kind of direct contact. So meet a refugee, speak to an asylum seeker, just perceive them as a human being, and then you will see how you can make a difference.
I wouldn't come here, I wouldn't like put myself on a risk to get here to get just benefit and then live in the housing. It's not, I wouldn't do it. And even if you were like, if you got like all this stuff, benefit and housing in Sudan, would you come? You wouldn't. Yeah, nobody would make it. Yeah.